It's one of the most historic buildings in all of Wilmington. Today it hosts a plethora of music, concerts, and entertainment. We're talking, of course, about Her Royal Highness, the Queen. Get ready to rock out. The 302 is coming your way. Hey 302, it's Jackie Ferris, and we are at one of the most historic and storied places on Market Street. We're talking about Her Majesty the Queen, and we're going to talk about the history, we're going to talk about the events, we're going to talk about it all. And joining us to do that is Angela DiPersia. She is the Assistant General Manager for the Queen. Thank you so much for allowing us to come in.
Of course, I'm happy to have you guys here to see the venue.
Now, this historic building goes all the way back to 1789, is that right?
That's right. So when it was first built, it was called the Indian Queen Inn, and it was basically just a bar that was visited by a lot of traveling sailors and some famous politicians back in the day too. It's rumored that Martin Van Buren visited. So there were some, storied pasts that went with the Indian Queen. And after that, they knocked it down and rebuilt it as a hotel. And I believe that was in the early 1900s. But soon after that, the Hotel DuPont was built and kind of shimmied it out of business. And yeah, so after that is when it became a movie theater, which I think prior to us reopening as a music venue, that was probably the thing that it was the most famous for. So it was the Queen Theater, and they played movies, and it was a big hit in the area.
And then after it was a movie theater, I guess it shut down, right?
It did. Actually, this week is our anniversary of the last film that was ever played. So it's been 60 years since the last film was played, and it was The House on Haunted Hill. So once that film was played, the building was shuttered for 50 years, and it was pretty much abandoned until Wilmington and the city and BPG and World Cafe Live came back and put some money into it and started this huge renovation to open it as a music venue.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it was like $25 million, because it was a shell.
Right. So yeah, it was a major renovation, and there was a lot of people on board with it. The city, like I said, BPG, World Cafe Live, a lot of donors that really were looking to get this area of the city back up and running and turn it back into kind of a cultural hub like it originally was.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you wander around the Queen, it looks like it takes you back to the day. Talk to me a little bit about, I know there's some construction projects going on to update things, but you've tried to keep the feeling of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that has been very important to us as a company, as Live Nation coming in, is we don't want to work against that image and against that antique vintage vibe. We want to kind of work with it. So in the main hall, you'll see around the stage, it's all of the original patina that we were able to restore and kind of paint anything we needed to fit that vibe. There's also some of the original murals on the top floor, and you can see some of the original organ pipes around the stage as well. And we still have the projectors that played the films back when it was a movie house.
Now, I know that there was some reports that the House on Haunted Hill was actually still in the projector. Do you know if that's true?
I mean, that I've never heard, but now I'll have to go check it out to see what's in there.
Well, there's definitely a lot of local lore around the Queen, people who have had experiences here, or their grandparents, or whatever the case may be. It's really been a fixture of the community, even when it was shuttered for so long.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the great thing about it being open again, is there's now a new generation of people that can create new memories here, and hopefully we can keep the building open for as long as it can possibly be here.
Do you know why it was called the Queen originally?
From what I understand is 5th Street, which runs on this side of the building, was originally called Queen Street before it was switched over to Numerical Street. So that's kind of why the original building had Queen in the title, and why it carried through, and why we're keeping it here now.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's not just a concert venue, you also do other activities here?
We do. So primarily we do concerts here, and that's kind of what we're known for. But we also have a pretty robust special events program here. So people can do anything from sweet 16s, bar mitzvahs, birthday parties, weddings, to corporate events. We all host a lot of corporate holiday parties. So really it's whatever you want it to be, if you wanted to use the space for one of your special events.
So whether you're looking to the future or thinking about the past, it really has a connection to the community. Do you feel like the community has rallied around the Queen? Can you talk about some of the things that people have done?
I do. I think that one thing that I quickly learned coming to this venue 2 years ago was that there is a very expansive network of local musicians that have a lot of their heart invested in this venue from back when it was first renovated. So we do a ton of events with local musicians and local charities and communities, and that's something that's really important to us, is that we feel like we are really embedded in the fabric of Wilmington, and that we're not just plopping another Live Nation venue down in another city and just operating as a standalone. So that's something that we really try to do here in Wilmington too.
And I think it really comes through, because whenever you say, I'm going to go do something, or let's look into concert venues or who's playing, a lot of the folks that we've spoken to, they've been, well, what's the Queen doing? The Queen has all this stuff that you can check out, and so you really have become part of the fabric.
Well, that's great to hear, because that's really what we wanted to do. And we wanted to still be able to provide shows and content from a Live Nation perspective that we might be able to bring in some bigger acts and some national talent, and we wanted to do that while still making sure that we keep the local musician community involved.
Okay, and we're going to talk about some of that talent in just a bit. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Gerald Chavis, and I'm swinging and bebopping with the 302.
Welcome back. We are at the Queen talking to Angela about all of the things that you're going to be able to check out this summer. Now, you were saying that the tribute band is really big this summer.
It is. So that's something that we have integrated into our programming here, that is just kind of a fun thing for people to come out and check out the venue. So we do tribute bands of all genres. We had a boy band tribute band. We do a ton of, 80s metal or anything that you really can think of. We'll do tribute bands here. So if you don't ever get the chance to see your favorite artist, you can come see a band that's going to sound just like them. So one of the things that we do to get people in the building to see those is we give out a ton of free tickets for them, which is just a fun Saturday night out. You can come check out the venue, enjoy the show, have some drinks, and just have a good time here.
So if maybe you hadn't heard of a particular band, say you have Breaking Benjamin coming up on June 14th, maybe you hadn't heard of them, and okay, it's going to be fun, I've got some free tickets. It kind of exposes people to new artists, so to speak.
So that particular show is called Hybrid Theory, and which is kind of a cool concept that we do with a lot of different tribute acts. It's a versus show. So that one in particular is, like you said, Breaking Benjamin versus Linkin Park. So if you know Linkin Park but don't know Breaking Benjamin, come out, check out the show, and you can see our music from both of the artists.
Now, I know one name that a lot of people know, or they should know, is Jim Morrison, and you have a Jim Morrison celebration?
We do. So that's another tribute band that we have coming. Wild Child is the name of the group. So they're just going to be all-night a tribute to Jim Morrison.
So whenever you come to something like that, I mean, it's a tribute. It's not just the music itself, but it's like a pageantry kind of thing where they.
Yeah, and these artists, they dedicate their entire musical careers to the artists that they're emulating. So it's cool. A lot of times they look just like them. The band, they're dressed like them. They have backdrops, and it looks like you're watching a concert from that artist.
Now, one thing that seems like it would be a lot of fun are the drag diva brunches. Now, you do this frequently, right?
We do. So twice a month we have a drag diva brunch here, and it's really just like a fun afternoon on Sundays, and it's just a drag show with brunch, and we do a ton of themes. We'll do Disney theme, Madonna theme, Britney theme, so it really runs the gamut, but it's a really great time. You'll see a lot of bachelorette parties come out, birthday parties. It's just a fun afternoon here in Wilmington.
So you come out and there's a brunch. Now, is there a show at the same time?
There is. So with your ticket, you get your entree, your first drink free, and you get the show. And it's a very interactive show. They'll pull people up on stage. They'll have lip sync competitions. They're out in the crowd. So it's a really fun event.
So it's something that we should plan for a couple of hours of having a good time on the thing. So I know that one of the big names that you have coming this summer is Norah Jones.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so that's a really exciting show for us to have here. It was almost an immediate sellout. Norah Jones, is a huge star. She is, multiple Grammy winner, jazz artist. So we're really excited to have her here. That's going to be a really great event.
Can you tell me a little bit about her music? I mean, she has one hit that most people would
I think
know.
Don't Know Why is probably her biggest song, but she's a contemporary jazz artist. Her debut album kind of was famous because it swept the Grammys that year. She won all the big awards. But since then, she's been a consistently high-selling and, famous jazz singer. So we're excited to have her here.
Now, at the end of June, you have the Fleetwood Mac Experience, Dreams and Unwind, a retrospective. That's like a trip down memory lane.
It is. So there's some tribute bands that every time we have a band that is a tribute to a few of these artists, they're huge hits. Fleetwood Mac is one of them. Anytime someone sees Fleetwood Mac tribute, Stevie Nicks tribute, they come out, and it's always an exciting one to have.
I can imagine people dressed up like hippies.
Oh yeah, totally. People get into it, which is fun to see. Sometimes we'll do some 80s nights, and people come out in all their 80s gear, and it's a fun time.
I can imagine. So going into July, you have your anniversary celebration. Talk to me about the People's Festival.
So the anniversary that we have is the anniversary of the venue. So it'll be 2 years since Live Nation took over the Queen. So we have an entire weekend dedicated to the Queen. We have a tribute band on Saturday night that is for the a Queen band tribute, and then we're doing a Queen themed drag brunch, and then that night we're going to do a sing-along version of the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. So it's just kind of a weekend all about Queen for the Queen. And then the People's Festival, which is later in the month, is a yearly festival that they've been doing here in Wilmington for about 25 years, and it's a tribute to Bob Marley. So something that people might not know is that the only place that Bob Marley ever lived in the United States was here in Wilmington, Delaware. So the city really is proud of that and embraces Bob Marley and his music and everything that he stood for, and they do this big festival every year that we became a part of when we came in as Live Nation. So they'll shut the whole street down, there's vendors and there's activities outside, and it's just a whole day dedicated to Bob Marley.
So people just get all dressed up and...
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. And then we have some bands that play inside at the end of the night. So usually reggae bands or even some of the Marleys themselves will play. So it depends on the year, but it's just all about honoring Bob Marley's legacy.
And in a very special year for Live Nation, what has it been like, these last 2 years? I mean, you have a wide variety of activities and events and things like that. What has it been like to see all of this come through?
I mean, it's been exciting. I've been here since the day we took over, so I've seen a ton of growth and I've seen a lot of acceptance from the community, and we like to hear what they want to see. So we asked, if you could have any artist play here at the Queen, who would you want to see? And we try to get something as close to that as we can. But it's important to us that people are able to see the artists that they love here at the Queen.
Okay, and I'm sure that you're going to have a lot of happy people this summer.
Yeah, we hope so.
We'll be right back.
I'm Tina, and I love jazzing it up with the 302.
Welcome back. We are at the historic Queen talking about all things wonderful and musical that happen under this historic roof. We're joined by Angela. Now, we've talked about events, we've talked about the history, but one of the things that really makes the Queen a part of the community is what it does for the community. And, the last 2 years, Live Nation has been, right in there. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you guys do to give back.
So one of the major things is an organization that we are partnered with called Light Up the Queen Foundation. So that foundation was originally started back when they were raising money to do the renovations, and they were a huge part of it. And we still have them here working in the building, and one of their main missions as a foundation is to revitalize Wilmington through different arts and music programs. So obviously that's right in line with what we do as Live Nation, and it was really important to us to keep them here and doing what they do.
Now you have, I guess, every couple of months you have different activities. The one that you were talking about to us earlier was the Shine a Light on Queen.
Yeah, so Shine a Light on the Queen is probably Light Up the Queen's biggest charity event, fundraiser of the year. So every year in March, usually it's the first weekend in March, they'll do a big concert, and it's always themed. So this year it was 1969. And the concert is performed by all local musicians. Sometimes, 70, 80 musicians will participate and kind of just swap in and out all night. And they'll play music from that year, and people come and they get dressed up, and there's, they put posters around the venue, and they really get into the theme of it. So that event, the foundation and its contributors really look forward to doing that every year, and it's always been a huge success.
So what is that night like? Are people milling in and out? And there's obviously, everyone's dressed up.
Yeah, and we fill the venue. So every year that I've been here for it, and from my understanding, every year before that, it's completely sold out. So people really come out in droves to participate and support this wonderful cause. And it's a really fun night. It's kind of a little bit of a party night for the people that have been working so hard in this foundation too.
Now I know that that's something that adults can enjoy, but there's also a really big focus on the younger folks, trying to encourage the arts in the community. And talk to me about the Smart Arts program.
Yeah, so I think one issue just nationwide is underfunding of arts and music programs in public schools. So Smart Arts is kind of our way to help with that. So a couple times a month, they will go to the local public schools and they'll bus in elementary school students and they'll do a performance for them. So it's usually a kid-focused, kid-based act, and they'll do a full performance, and the kids really love it, and it's just kind of something they have to look forward to a few times a month.
So I can imagine that there's just the noise level.
You're used
to, but
I'm used to it. It's a different pitch, I think, for the elementary school kids.
But I think it's got to be a way to really get kids connected to music, no matter what the program is, because we're so busy, we're so screen focused. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And I think live music is really what that does. And I think kids, of course, they're exposed to music, but seeing actual performers on stage and being able to connect to them is really important.
The other thing that you guys do is Boise Jazz, but that means that's students teaching students, right?
Yeah, so that's a little bit of an older student demographic, so more high school age students, and they're phenomenal musicians, and they come out and they do almost like a workshop, and they work together and they create a piece and they perform it at the end of the workshop. So it's really amazing to see these young musicians and how talented they are and how they're able to create such a collaborative effort for their final performance.
Sure. So whenever you're talking about they do a workshop, are they doing it together, or are they doing it with students who maybe don't have the skill level that they do?
They work on it together, so they kind of break off into separate groups and they create their own piece among their peer group. So it's really gives them a lot of freedom and flexibility to do what they want to do from a creative perspective, and they've come out with some amazing final productions.
So the entire year is spent hosting these concerts and everything, but that giving back piece is really important to the Live Nation folks.
It is, and we make sure that we find space in our calendar for Light Up the Queen events no matter what's going on. So that even if that sometimes means that we have the kids in the morning and then we, after they leave, have to do a quick flip of the room to bring in a band at the end of the night, we'll make it work, because it's really important for us to feel like we're giving back, especially to the local community here in Wilmington.
Now, we've talked a lot about what it is that you guys do, but tell me about Live Nation itself.
So Live Nation is an international entertainment company. So we do everything from live music venues to artist promotion festivals. So anything that really falls under the umbrella of live entertainment, Live Nation is a part of, including Ticketmaster and the ticketing side of things. So that said, even though it's a huge international corporation, from a day-to-day we really do operate like a small business among the community where we are. So that's how the Queen kind of is from an everyday standpoint. And that's how we like it. And it makes, I think, the local people that maybe were a bit hesitant when Live Nation was coming in, because they see a big corporation coming into their neighborhood. And I think that once they saw that we weren't trying to come in and take over. We really just want to be a part of the community. It was a little bit of a sigh of relief.
I'm sure that everyone is very happy that you guys
We're
came
happy to
in
be
and took
here.
over. And there are a lot of activities, a lot of entertainment offerings. If somebody wants to know what's going on, what do they do?
They should check out our website or our social media pages. So our website is thequeenwilmington.com. You can see our current calendar and what's coming up, on sale dates, and you can get your tickets right from there too.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back. That'll do it for today's show. For more information on concerts and events, visit thequeenwilmington.com. We leave you now with a magic marquee. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. We'll see you on the 302.